Today, Dad and Goddad are going to tell you tales from their GenX Life.
And of course, there is show and tell,
And the Box O Mystery.
followed by consulting the wisdom of the Magic 8 Ball.
Hey guys, welcome to the GenX Vault. I'm Chris Mitchell.
I'm Rob Cannady.
And today, Rob has planned this entire show out. I have no idea what his story is going to be, but he wanted to tell stories from our GenX Life. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this show over to you, Rob.
Okay. A quick aside, something I wanted to mention before we got started. There was an actress, small-time actress named Penny McCarthy, passed away this week.
Who was that?
I didn't know either.
Okay.
But if you're a Star Wars fan, you kind of know without knowing.
Who is she?
Penny McCarthy was in A New Hope. Penny McCarthy, she played the Deveronian in the Cantina.
The Deveronian was the devil, right?
Two horns.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was a member of the Modal Nodes in the Cantina band.
Okay. Figuring Dan and the Modal Nodes.
Yep.
All right.
And she was the Jawa that put the restraining bolt on R2-D2.
How tall was... Oh, was that the taller Jawa?
May have been.
Okay.
And she was the Princess Leia's hand that put the plans. To put the plans into the R2.
So she pretty much did everything important.
That was her hand.
That movie.
Yep. That was her hand.
Had it not been for this actress that we don't even know,
Yep.
the Empire would have won.
So so Miss Penny McCarthy. I hope you rest in peace, and she is an important part of Star Wars lore.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know that on that little thing too, like Greedo. I know that there was an actress, the woman that was
Yeah.
inside of Greedo. You know, and then there was different people that played different characters since they were in costume.
Yeah.
And they were can't really tell.
And they used women a lot because they had smaller frames.
so
So the costumes, some of the costumes were bulky,
right.
and it was easier to fit a smaller frame person in
Fit them
there.
a little better.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting to know. I did not know that.
So Penny McCarthy.
I didn't know that about Penny McCarthy. That's
Yes.
cool.
So pretty cool.
That's
so
cool.
she basically did what all of us would have loved to have done.
Been in every scene in Star Wars, pretty much.
Yep.
That's right.
And okay, tales from our GenX Life. This is a story about a strange connection that Melinda and I had with comic books before we even knew each other.
And Melinda is his wife.
Melinda is my wife. Yes, the mother of the two intro people you saw.
That's right. Which I'll give a
earlier.
shout out at the end.
So this is a winding story, but it'll get to a point. Go back to when I was, 10, 12 years old. I was collecting comics, which at the time was very random because Statesboro didn't have a comic book store back in the 80s.
When did Galactic open? Late 80s, right?
Probably late 80s, but this is the early 80s.
Okay.
There wasn't a comic book store. The two main places I collected comics was, remember where Zaxby's is now? It used to be a time saver.
Yeah.
I would collect comics there, and I would get comics at the medical center pharmacy.
Weird little shout out. Zaxby's started in Statesboro.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Weird little
By
shout
two
out.
college students.
That's right. Oh, yeah. 2 GSU students.
Yep. And the other place was the medical center pharmacy across from the old hospital. But my collecting was very random because back then I was, young. I didn't know that there was a certain day of the week that new comics came out. So it's basically whenever my mom took me to one of those places,
Then you found a new one.
I would find a new comic. So to have 2 issues in a row, sequential, was an oddity.
Right.
But I'd managed to accumulate about 100 comics.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So
That's still a lot.
Yep. So anyway, and it was a mix of Marvel and DC. I honestly at that time didn't even know there were other comic book companies. Even back then, those were just 2 main ones, and probably had 60 Marvel, 40 DC for the sake of the story. Well, anyway, my friends and I we kind of tended more toward Marvel. We liked the characters better and this, that, and the other. And Marvel at the time kind of ran an underhanded campaign against DC in the comics, where they would basically say, at the end, on the letters page or something, they would say like, "Hey kids, forget about DC. Just collect Marvel. Be a Marvel zombie." They actually called it that. Be a Marvel zombie.
Really?
And me and my friends, being the strong-willed people that we were like, "Yeah, screw DC. We're gonna be Marvel zombies."
Kind of like the Xbox, PlayStation fighting.
Yeah, it is. So there was a used bookstore in Statesboro by Winn-Dixie in the Gentilly Plaza thing there.
Right.
And they had a comic book section. And they had a very simple policy. You could trade in 2 comics for a comic. So 2 for 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I gathered up my stack of 40 or so DC comics.
X-Men #1.
Yeah. So I went into the used bookstore and I'm like, I'm a Marvel zombie. Take these DCs off my hands.
Oh.
And I took all the Marvel comics, so I traded in 40 DC, got 20 Marvel comics, left a happy camper. So, cut forward 10, 12 years. Again, when you're my age, exact dates kind of go. So, I've been dating Melinda for a couple years. And
This is his wife, of
yes. Melinda, I met Melinda when she was 18 and I was 20.
Okay.
And we lived in two different cities, had never met each other before we met the first time when...
and she grew up, of course, in Metter, right?
In Metter.
Yeah, which is
Metter,
about
Georgia.
20 miles from where we are.
So we've been dating for a year and a half, something like that. And so one day I was walking in the hallway at her house, and there was this utility closet where the door was always closed. And so this one particular time I was walking down the hallway, utility closet door was open a little bit, and I could just see inside. And I was like, ooh.
What's in there?
Yeah. So I do the old look behind myself, see if anyone's looking.
I think your comic radar was going
and
off.
I opened the door and I looked inside because I'm nosy.
That's sneaky.
Yeah. And it was already open a little bit. So
Obviously, just come on in. It was an invite to come on in.
It's not breaking and entering if the door's open.
That's right. It's only entering.
Yes.
Not breaking.
I was just entering. And on the shelf, and that immediately caught my attention, on one of the shelves on the wall was a stack of comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go in there and I look, and the comic book on top was this comic right here.
Action Comics.
And I thought to myself, hey, that's pretty cool. I used to have that comic. But, I knew there was more than one copy ever made, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I moved that one, and I look at the second one, and I was like, I used to have that one too. How about that? And then I look at the third one, and I was like, yeah, I remember that. It was one of my old DC comics. And I'm like going down, and I'm like, I had all these comics. And by the time Melinda walks up, she's like, what are you doing? And totally disregarding that I'm invading her family privacy.
Her space, that's right.
I'm like, where did you get these comics? And she's like, my mom used to take us to a used bookstore. I said, the one in Statesboro. I said, the one by Winn-Dixie? And she's like, yeah. I was like, these are my comics. And she's like, I'm pretty sure they're our comics.
That's right.
I was like, no. I traded these in 10, 12 years ago. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. She's like, wow, that's amazing. And I was like, can I have them? And she's like, no.
You're telling one of your stuff back.
And
had no right of his own. No right.
But eventually later, her father gave them to me as part of her dowry. So.
Oh, really? Oh, so there was a...
Actually, that part's made up. I did eventually claim the comic books.
Well, yeah, you're married.
So not only did I meet the wonderful Melinda, who has brought so much joy to my life, I also got my DC comics back as a kid. Now, to me, that's a pretty amazing story.
Well, let me back this. Let me back this train up a little bit from what you said last week. When you said that when you get your mind set on something, you're getting it back. So my guess is like, man, I like this girl, but I really love them comics, man. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So he got it back.
I can leave here with the girl and the comics, or the comics, but I'm leaving here with the comics.
He's leaving with both. He got
just kidding, Melinda. I love you.
Left with both. With both. That's right.
So but I just thought that was a pretty neat story that my comics. Not only did I get the wonderful Melinda, I also got my comics.
That's awesome.
And like I said, even in a town as small as Statesboro and Metter, that's still a pretty amazing statistical.
That actually is. The again, we talked about the law of averages last week.
Yeah.
Law of averages is pretty weird on that one. That one's that does not work out. So you got your comics back.
Yeah. So that's my tale for today from the my GenX Life of comic books and love.
How to get your woman of your dreams and your comic books back.
Yeah. One day I'm gonna write a movie, Love and Comics in a Small Town.
That's right. It's just gonna be based on that. It'll be based around that scenario.
It's
you
amazing.
You you asked me the other day if you ever told me that story, and I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So if you did tell it,
I've told it to people. I just can't remember who I've told.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Now you certainly could have, but now that I've been able to actually see the physical proof, then now it'll sink in. I've seen it full color.
Yeah. That was interesting. But years later, those comics I did trade in, they weren't worth anything. It was just sentimental.
Well, they were now. They're worth everything now. That's right.
Yeah. So
that's
that's
awesome.
I just thought that was a neat story.
That is a cool story.
Yeah.
Oh well, my story, I had no idea where Rob was going with this today, and I really just kind of said, okay, if I can button this up in one kind of thing, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about it. My story is, and you can. This is the first time I've worn jeans and flannel or jeans and an overshirt. It was finally.
I didn't wear an overshirt today because my cousin shamed me
about the overshirt and the t-shirt.
But I'm going to wear one next week.
Well, I'm giving a shout out to
at
my devil cat today, so I got to do that. Do that little bit of shout out. But no, my story's a little different. Part of the reason I wanted to get back with this, Rob and I talked about over the pandemic that we hadn't seen each other in forever.
Yeah.
And he'd been being safe and masking up, and I'd been being safe and masking up, and I mask up all week in the shop, and of course when I go out, and so does Rob too, which is why we're
we feel safe.
Yeah, closer than 6 feet apart.
Yep.
But we talked about one of the things I used to do with my I had a toy company was I did toy reviews and all this kind of stuff, and I'd reply to people's questions and all that. And I realized that there, since I wasn't in a situation where I was playing gigs, that I missed kind of the performance and I missed the camaraderie and I missed talking to people about this kind of stuff because you and I always talk about it. Yeah. But that's kind of what we focus on. But so this week, just a small little story that I want to share with you guys, and I have a complete expose on this on my website, and I'll also share it on GenX Vault. Is part of the reason that I even got into this in the first place is we started a toy company years ago called Plaid Toys, and it's funny, we still run it, but it really I don't have any product for sale anymore. I'll do the reviews and things like that on it for this, and I'll link to GenX Vault and all that, but we don't have anything for sale. And the reason why we do that is actually a little an experience that happened in my life, and I'll just go ahead and share it. It's Christmas 1986. I don't know if you've ever you know the song off my album. Right. So I was talking to Rob this week about just stuff that he'd some of the stuff he'd heard. And one of the things that I experienced in my life growing up, and this got a lot more popularity now. I grew up with my dad was bipolar, and so Dad would go through these swings of he'd be super super high and inventive and extremely entrepreneurial, which is I'm sure where I get it from. All the way down to just 100% depressed and not being able to get to the bed for a year. So I saw that a lot growing up. That I went from kind of the extreme to okay, great, the family's doing good, we're financially stable, all the way to oh my God, even at one point we were on public assistance at one point. And I remember Christmas 1986. The interesting thing about that is, and I ask myself sometimes, why do I collect? You ever wonder what is that driving? Yeah. What is that thing? Why do you want to do it? And the answer I always kind of keep coming back to is I kind of remind myself of that, of being a kid and then seeing that thing that you want. And for me that year, I knew it was a period of my life where Dad, he was in an absolute slump, and things were tight, and so I hyper focused. I knew that it was going to be tight for us that year. I knew there was not going to be a chance of anything. So I hyper focused, and I said, Mom, I know that there's not a whole lot of money there, and I was about 12 years old. Yeah. I'm still collecting toys. Kids our age at 12, we did. There were no phones, and video games were still in their infancy, relatively speaking. So you did that.
VCRs weren't a thing.
VCRs, or they were extremely expensive. Yeah. And, so that year I just hyper-focused on Mom, and I said, look, I'll tell you what, I only want one thing this year. If you can get me it's a red G.I. Joe guy called a Crimson Guard, that's all I want. And the funny thing is you talk about, one of the things we talk about, the locations of the toys and where we got them and all that, that's part of the fun. Well, I knew that our Revco, which of course eventually became CVS, but our Revco, thank you, Mary Lou Retton, had this figure, and so I remember walking Mom down the aisle and picking that one out, and that one's just always been it's like you kind of have these things in life that you go through, and that was a thing for me that I did, and I can kind of look at it. One day I got in my office after Plaid Dot, after my company had started doing well, and we had had a measure of success, and I realized, man, I got all this plastic, this what some people consider junk. Yeah. And at the end of the day,
we don't like those people.
That's what we don't like those people. And like we always talk about, what are we going to do when we die, when our pass our collection on or whatever. But I realized there was a point where, okay, I've got to do something with it. I got to do something better for it.
Right.
And so that's when I said, okay, well, I'm going to make sure that we are donating some of this stuff. And so that's what we do every year. If you want to contribute to the cause, if you go to plaidtoys.com or genxvault.com and write us in and say, hey, I'd like to contribute to this. Every year, we donate hundreds and hundreds of toys to kids throughout Statesboro and Bullitt County. And what we do is we buy a lot of them, between 10 and 15 buggies full, and we donate them to the Sheriff's Department. And one of the big things, I think, GenXers that we grew up in, it not only was it, we had the huge commercial thing that happened all through the 80s and that sort of, that theory of trickle down and everything else. But by the time we got in the 90s, you had a socially aware grunge movement.
Yeah.
And it made me go, wait a minute, there is more to this world than just me and what I want. What about other people?
Exactly.
And so Rob and I have always, kind of sort of shared in the sense of, the awareness of other people. And I kind of want to make this a little bit part of that. So if you do want to contribute to that and you want to be a part of that, that is something that we do every year for Christmas. And we'll be doing that again this year. And I'll show you the pictures up on the screen so that you can see, what we've done in the past. And if you want to help, certainly help. We'll be glad to help donate your toys, or just any money that you donate will go towards the kids in Bullitt County for Toys for Tots. So that is my story for this year.
Cool deal.
Or this week, I should say.
It's a good thing.
All right. And if you want to read a little bit more about it, it is probably a tearjerker because I had to get it out of my system. There is a song on it on my album called Christmas 1986. And there's an entire story about it on my website, and I'll post it on genxvault.com under my vault. How about that?
That's cool.
You can cool with that?
Very cool.
All right, he's cool with that. All right. So moving right along.
Right along.
You know what time it is?
It's time for show and tell, boys and girls.
Show and tell. Right?
All right. And I think this time, Rob, I go
Chris
first.
goes first.
I go first because you went first last time.
Well, it's your house, your camera, your lights, and
you know
your
what they
table,
say.
so
Okay.
you go first.
All right. Talking about mom and begging and begging and begging.
Yes.
I will tell you this. The figure that I begged the most for in my life, like in the history of my toy collecting days.
Yep.
The one that was the holy grail, the chalice, the if I had to go through the Temple of Doom to get this thing, I would. That kind of stuff.
Yep.
Was G.I. Joe's Serpentor. Oh man,
Serpentor.
love this thing. This guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set him up. We're gonna do a little something different today for the camera. I've chosen to do a one camera view and then overlap it with a different camera so that we could actually focus on it. And Rob's dad said, "Hey, the show's pretty good, but you guys need to show us what you're talking about here." So thank you, Mr. John.
Yeah.
Serpentor. The reason why I love this guy, it makes no sense whatsoever to have an emperor of G.I. Joe clad in gold, other than the fact that he was raised from the dead. He was basically DNA.
He was made, wasn't he?
He was made from Attila the Hun, Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
DNA from other great leaders. I think Napoleon was one of them.
He was like the G.I. Joe version of the Transformers Combiner.
Yeah,
Said it was DNA.
Well, I don't know that story that well, but you're right. You mean the combiner? You mean like as in?
Well, they mixed all the DNA together.
They did.
And made him.
They did. He was supposed to be some like
He's
just
supposed to be a super leader,
warrior, super
to
warrior.
replace Cobra Commander.
That's right. And a little more stable. I don't know how
Cobra Commander was crazy.
He was crazy. Now, if you watch G.I. Joe Resolute, that's a better version of the Cobra Commander that we all know and love.
Yeah.
But anyway, Serpentor. Here's it's a better story than the action figure, I think. So we went to. I looked everywhere for this figure, could not find it. A friend had it, and I was just, oh my God, I got to get this thing. So I said, hey, Mom, we grew up in Hagen, and we're just 22 miles from Claxton. And from Statesboro. And I said, Mom, when can we go over to Statesboro to get this thing? And she said, where's this 22 miles? I get off work, 5, I'm cooking for you guys, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, what if we go Saturday and blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. There's every reason.
Start bargaining and reasoning.
Everything. I mean, I said, well, okay, so what if I get my brother to drive me? I pay his gas. I was literally going to pay gas, whatever I had to do. And I couldn't find the figure anywhere, ever.
Yeah.
So one day, by happenstance, me and my cousin Troy, we're out on the we're in Statesboro with my Aunt Jan and my mom, and we come across the we go into Rose's at the time, which is now a gym. Which is now a gym. But we go into Rose's, and Rose's had that offshoot, that little section off to the side that when you walk to the front door, and I get there, and there this guy is in a box. The box is about yay big, with his.
Oh, really? It came in a box.
It came in a box because it had the air chariot in it.
Oh, okay.
So he came with the knife, the snake, the obviously the cape, and the air chariot. What he rode on, what he flew around and commanding his. It's kind of a la Hunger Games kind of thing.
Right.
He just drove the chariot.
Yeah.
So he had that.
Him and Katniss.
And man, I immediately snacked it off the shelf. I mean, I snacked it. I went running back to the shop. Little 12-year-old Chris running back in the door. Mom, I got it. This is what I was telling you about. Please. It's just like, okay, Chris, put it in the car.
Just quit making a scene.
Yeah, that's right. It was a good day, and it was by far the hardest figure I think I'd ever worked and begged for the entire time. So
because that was a fun thing, trying to make the argument with your parents that you've just found a hard to find figure.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you just found this is hard to find.
It's like, no, you don't understand. They're like, there are always Star Wars figures out there. No, you don't understand.
This guy.
Chewbacca doesn't come around that often.
No, that's right. He was one of the rare pieces. Well, and if you've noticed, that you see on the wall, I'll kind of share that too. That is actually mine from that from that era. Yeah, from that era.
Okay.
I've got a poster on my wall that I did save and I got framed because it's from my childhood, from my era of collecting as a kid, and that was I probably perused that thing more than any piece of paper.
Oh yeah.
And matter of fact, it's torn in several places. I had to get them to tape it back together with the the museum tape and put it in the frame. It was pretty crazy, but that's because when you were a kid and you didn't have the internet. What we did is we went through magazines, we went through comics, went through collectibles, anything we could find to basically find out, hey, where can I get this? When can I get it? When is it coming out? Is it out now? And sometimes they do that worst thing ever. They'd show you the blacked out figure and they'd say coming soon. You're like, what is that?
Yeah, just a silhouette of it.
What is that? Please be another this.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So that is my first item for show and tell.
Serpentor is a good one.
What you got, Rob?
Okay, what I brought today, and Chris is going to accuse me of cheating again, but the main figure I'm wanting to show you, this is Darth Vader when he's being electrocuted as he's killing the Emperor. Now this figure is really, really cool and really, really interesting because of what the critique that my dad gave us, which he did give me the critique, but what I told Chris yesterday, what was so great about that, it really meant he was truly watching
That's
it.
Right. That's right. He was watching it.
That was awesome.
That was the compliment. Thank you, Mr. John.
And he was right. But anyway, if you've never seen this figure, he's actually got a translucent helmet.
He does.
And it's got lightning drawn on it. But inside is Vader's actual skull that you can see.
That's impressive.
And he's missing his hand, as he should be.
Yep.
And kind of a cool thing that happened by accident. One time I had this all set up and I took a picture of it with an old camera. It had a flash. Mm-hmm. When that flash hit that, it lit it up. And I've got that picture somewhere on the computer, but it looked incredible.
It just lit up
it did.
Because the light bounced around the translucent.
And it was just awesome. And you can see here, I've actually attached an Emperor to him, but because as soon as I had this Vader figure, I was like, somehow he's got to be killing the Emperor.
Is that the Emperor that came with him? As a duo?
No, this was the original power of the Jedi.
Okay, I didn't
Emperor.
think so.
But no, this was a different one. This one was actually an electronic Emperor.
Okay.
Where the lightning things would go in there and light up.
That's right.
But what I did, I knew I had to have it looking like this. So I couldn't get him to hold him in any kind of way. So you can tell with an up close shot that I've got a wire wrapped all around them, all kind of ways, doing it, and you're like, oh, that looks terrible. And yeah, it is obvious, but I've actually had it displayed up high on top of a shelf, and it's the way I've got it. He will not stand up, but I've actually got it. There's like a little raised place, so it like holds it in place. Mm-hmm. So he's literally holding the Emperor over a ledge.
Oh yeah.
And it looks, and from a distance, you don't notice all this. You just notice that here's this Vader killing the
We're going to
Emperor.
do a whole expose on Rob's.
So, and this is I have Kylo Ren's lightsaber from a Black Series figure as my pointer.
That's the cheat.
I was going to use Dumbledore's wand, but it was too big. So anyway, I just think this is a great Vader. It's a great sculpt, and then just the whole design of the helmet being translucent, the arms translucent. Yep. And just the added macabre
skull in there
yeah,
it's just a great,
that's a
great
win-win.
touch. Yeah, it is.
That really is cool.
This is just really, really cool.
Because it's got a little bit of his spine going down too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's I really like this figure. I really like the way I set it up, and like I said, in my room where I've got it set up, it actually looks real good because it's up high, and he's actually holding him over the precipice, and it just turned out very pleasing to me.
That's right. Well, that's all that matters.
Yep,
That is all that matters. All right, for my second figure of show and tell, I've actually got a double whammy as well. I've got the original, I believe it's the 85 or 86. I can never remember when this came out. The original Crimson Guard, based on what I was telling you guys earlier. This is my original from... Actually, this one is not my original. This one is... I had acquired, I think a guy came in the store one day and knew I collected and gave me a bunch of stuff. It was kind of cool. He didn't want to throw it away, and he knew I was a collector, and he knew I was into toys, and so he gave me that one. And the interesting thing is, again, I always love the figures with the helmet, and to tie it into my story, the Crimson Guard. I just thought this guy was classy as can be.
Yeah, I can remember because Crimson Guard came out, I think, when I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
Which would have been 83 or so.
I thought it was. I'm gonna look this
might
up.
have been before then. I don't
Yeah.
know. I remember it because I remember. Even though I wasn't the biggest G.I. Joe fan, I thought he looked cool.
Pretty classy.
Yeah.
They got that whole suit thing that goes off the side, And of course, the second one they did the 25th anniversary. They did another version of this where the first one that came out with the 25th anniversary, the helmet comes off, which, like I told you, I'm a sucker for that.
Yep.
And I was just telling Rob as I was looking, I was going to grab it, and I was looking, and he's like, "What? You can't find what you're looking for?" I was like, "Nah, I just remembered it was stolen." A kid had. I left my door open one day in the store, and a kid came in there and cleaned me out. It was about $600 worth of toys.
Pretty sure that should be a capital crime.
We're
talking to our congressman.
Well, I like I said, I was kind of mad, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wasn't as mad at the theft as he didn't take some of the better figures.
Yeah.
So like he left a lot of really good figures.
Yeah.
Like he left Fett.
Nothing worse than a thief with bad taste.
Yeah, a thief with bad taste. It's like, kid, he stole the Crimson Guard, left the helmet.
Wow.
I'm like, that is the bonus piece.
Research, thieves. Research.
Yeah. Kid, don't come into my office and steal something without stealing all of it. You got to steal
Have some
all
respect.
Of it. Yes, yeah. Come on, respect your toys.
Young people.
What are you doing? Steal all of it.
Yeah.
Or don't steal anything. How about that?
Well, yeah, that's
okay. Okay. So don't steal anything. Let's recant that a little bit. Run that one back. Don't steal anything.
Yeah.
Especially our toys. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and when we had still that year was an interesting year because the funniest thing happened. I was kind of bummed, and when I made the police report, I went because I did.
It was a report. Somebody stole my toys. Your child's toys?
Well,
no, mine.
Well, okay.
How old are you, sir? I'm 25.
Well, I go to the precinct, and her kid took lessons from us at the shop. So, and of course, it wasn't her kid that that did it. But the funny thing is I'm making the report, and I had to know how much they were worth. So I go on Amazon to look it up. I told her I'd get back in touch with her because I didn't know. It was $600. So I priced everything on Amazon. Well, when I go to Amazon, they said, "Oh, you've got enough points to cover all of these figures," and I went,
"Hey,
oh." Okay.
Yeah.
So I was able to get not all of them back because they didn't have my original Crimson Guard and all that stuff. I wasn't able to get some of them back, but some of them I was. And so it was a horrible story with a little bit of a happy ending there. And and so and I even put a note up on my door on my office door that said, "Hey, if you took my toys, I will not be angry. Just bring them back. No questions asked. No questions asked." And I wasn't going to ask any questions.
You should have printed out sheets and stapled it to all the poles and down Main Street.
Everything. Missing. Have you seen this Crimson Guard?
Have you seen these figures? I just want them back.
Last seen 3 3/4 inches tall, wearing a red outfit and missing a helmet.
Caution, maybe armed.
Oh, that's right. And then the funny thing was the last whole thing is this. That felt horrible about this. This kid came in my office and he took a Commander Cody. He was a 6-year-old and he came in the office and he took a Commander Cody right out of my office, right?
Yeah.
And the week after, his mom came in and said, "I believe this belongs to you. What do you have to say to him?" And so he looks at him and goes, "I'm sorry." And I look right down at him and I say, "Where's the backpack?"
There you go.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean,
You better go find it.
Where's the backpack kid? You know, so, but anyway, I want these kids to know, nah, I mean, you know, I obviously wasn't mad. The kid, you know, I think I've done stupid stuff.
6-year-old sees a toy, figures.
Gonna grab, hey, it's here for my liking. Gotta grab it. So, but okay, so that is my second entry into show and tell. Thank you.
Pretty good.
All right,
Like that. All right, my second and final entry. Another recommendation from JT, who you saw earlier in the intro, is G1 Galvatron.
that's massive.
It is a big figure.
That's a big old hoss.
He's as big as Devastator was that I showed a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And this is...
He might be a little shorter, just a little shorter.
This is the vintage G1. Now, I did have this figure. This is not the one I had as a kid. And the reason why, I did collect Transformers as a kid. But I had a lot of stuff at Gallup's, the comic book store I used to frequent, that I wanted. And my Transformers were in not the best shape, the vintage ones I had. So I actually traded them all in.
How many did you have?
Probably 30 or so.
Okay, because hold on, let me back this up.
Back it up.
Rob said a few weeks ago, I wasn't really into Transformers. He had 30. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not really in this.
Okay.
That's just a dabble.
I had one. That was Dabble. I had two. The two. I had the blaster and the tape. Go ahead. Please.
So I traded them all into Ted.
Okay.
And because there was other stuff I wanted and this that, and other. But what happened one day, and I kind of, Transformers left my life and I was okay with it. Mm-hmm. But then one day, I don't know, time loses all meaning for me. A year and a half ago, I was walking through Walmart and they had reissued the vintage G1 Optimus Prime.
Yep,
I never had that one.
Yeah,
and it was just Optimus himself, not his trailer.
Right.
So nostalgia took over, and I picked it up, and also picked up a Bumblebee, a vintage Bumblebee,
the small one.
And I'd had that.
The easiest Transformer to transform.
Yeah. And Bumblebee's weird. In the original line, they came out with a red Bumblebee and a yellow Bumblebee.
Really?
Yes. Don't know why, but they did.
He was only yellow
in
the cartoons.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody who was a Transformers collector knows why. But
if you know, let us know.
Anyway, I bought that. I bought those two figures, Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and in my mind, I told myself, I'm good with this. But deep in my mind, it was like, no, you're not. And that opened up a floodgate.
Had to be real with yourself, man.
Yep. And so I was like, a figure I used to love that G1 Galvatron. Because let's face it, a lot of G1 Transformers aren't the best looking figures.
No, they're not.
And but I always thought Galvatron just had he's got some massiveness to him. I know he's got a rook for a head, but
he does. Yeah.
He's just really, really cool. So I got on eBay with determination, found a Galvatron that was still in pretty good shape.
And this is the original, though.
Yes, this is the original back from the 1980s, whenever. And so I reacquired Galvatron, and that led to then I noticed then that they started putting out a really, really good looking series of Transformers called Transformers Siege or War for Cybertron.
Yeah.
And those figures are excellent looking.
Yeah,
You've seen some
yes,
of
I
them.
have. Yeah, they look good.
So I picked up my favorites: Megatron, Soundwave, Ultra Magnus, Shockwave.
Because those they actually look like they did in the comics
Yeah.
in the cartoon. Yeah.
I got on. I think from Amazon, I found the Devastator that I brought in, the reproduction, and my other favorite combiner, I picked up Predaking.
Yeah,
The
that's
combiner,
right.
Predaking, which I like about it is the vintage one, and it's my second favorite combiner out of all of them. So, and then once I did that, my Transformer itch was scratched, and I have them proudly displayed. And but I am glad that I was able to get the Generation 1 vintage Galvatron back. And what's interesting, in the movie, in the '86 animated movie, Galvatron is Megatron remade.
That's right.
But in the toy line, when he debuted, they were separate.
Yeah.
He was called a City Commander. Same thing as Ultra Magnus.
Yes.
In the actual toy line, he and Ultra Magnus were counterparts.
Yeah,
they were both called City Commanders. And it was kind of assumed that they were second in command.
I wonder if they did that, though, just not to spoil the movie.
Well, the movie, from what I understand, the movie took so long to make that the toy line went on.
Okay.
And the cartoon series went on. That's why there's so many discrepancies between the not that Transformers G1 cartoon was really worried about continuity,
Right.
But anyway, but like I said, I really like this figure. I think it's got good weight to it. It looks good. It's not the way it transforms is pretty easy, and it's just a good looking figure, that a blast from my past that I reclaimed, and I'm very happy.
So Rob's pick this week for show and tell is Galvatron. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Brian had that one too, my best friend.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to talk about something a little different right now.
Okay.
I brought this to your attention this week. Rob, last week during the show, asked me had I seen the second trailer, or the first trailer for the second season of Mandalorian.
Oh, yes, very good.
And he shocked me on the show, which I had not seen it.
I like
and I'm actually going to use this little section to talk about the Easter egg that I think I found.
Oh, the one you sent me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I took a screenshot of the trailer, and I emailed Rob the Easter egg. And, even though we asked the Magic 8 Ball last week or a few weeks ago, if it was actually going to be Boba Fett in the trailer, 8 Ball denied it. But let me show you guys this image. And you see in this image right here that I'm showing you on the screen now, that looks like what I showed you right here, looks like the Mandalorian armor on the back of that speeder bike.
Yep.
It looks like him carrying another Mandalorian.
And since you've said that, the internet's picked it up too.
Damn it! Have they really picked? I said that first.
I know. I'm here at witness. Chris said it first.
I said it first. I said, wait a minute, that looks like a Mandalorian.
You sent me the shot, and it wasn't until a day or two later that the internet started running with the story.
See, I should have done this. I should have been the content creator that day.
He doesn't wear glasses.
I don't wear glasses. I can't believe they really said that.
And the Magic 8 Balls, it didn't really like us.
No,
Or it doesn't like me.
It's
kind of fickle.
It can't be
We're-
fickle. That's because you and Abby shake it. That's why.
Yeah. Well, it lied to you. So
Well, maybe it lied to me. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding on the show.
never
So-
trust an 8 Ball.
That's right. Well, so we'll have to find out if that's actually what's going to happen in the next season. But it looked like to me like it was Mandalorian. I sent that to you like 2-3 days ago.
Yep, you
The
did.
day I saw it. Okay.
I
So,
attest to it.
thank you, Internet. Circle Z. All right. So now.
It's time for the Box O Mystery.
And in this week's episode, Rob gets to open the Box O Mystery. And let's see, I can't wait to find out what he has. He actually asked me last couple nights ago, he said, hey, I need to borrow the Box Mystery so I can hide stuff in it and bring it to you. So what you got, Rob?
All right. The Box of Mystery. Now, I've been very, very patient with this because I've had to keep this a secret for a couple weeks because I actually acquired this item the day after my turn with the Box of Mystery. So I had to wait for your turn
You were done.
to get it.
You were done.
So here it is, finally, the reveal. And inside the box, and I'm really looking forward to this. Inside the Box of Mystery is a present. Now, I'm not shallow enough to give myself a present.
Oh,
and I had Linda wrap it, and she didn't do a very good job because it came
Just for the record, it's DC wrapping paper.
This is a present for my very good friend, Chris.
It is? Oh,
So,
it's for me?
It's for you. So
What?
I'm going to defer my turn, and I would like you to open your present.
Well, now I'm beside myself.
There you go.
What the heck, man? I had no idea this was coming. So
Here's a knife if you need it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have no idea what this
No
is. I'm very shocked. So that's crazy.
And you'll find that the box has been opened, and the reason why is I wanted to double check that I got it off of eBay. I want to double check that it was cool.
Okay, let's see. Thank you for the knife, Rob.
You can probably do it. It's just Scotch
Pop
tape.
it. Let me try real quick. You guys all heard my loud Starlight Mint last
Ooh,
week.
wasn't that loud? My JT listened. He's like, it has to stop.
When I edited, I took the headphones off and just kept
Yep.
turning. So should have just turned the volume down.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. All right, I am shocked.
Now you better display that.
I am going to display that. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe you bought this, man. This is freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh
gotta show
man,
them
it's
what
in
it is.
great shape. Rob got me the big boa from I believe it was the 87, 88. I think it's 87 G.I. Joe. And this is in great shape. I mean,
Yeah,
his
I looked
gloves
at.
are in
I
good shape.
kept searching until I found one that was all there. And
Oh man, This is gonna go in my display cabinet with pride, man. This is awesome, dude.
And I found out apparently this comes off a lot.
It does.
And people remanufacture just out, and it's pointed out to them.
3D print that
it's
part,
that little part there.
Yeah. He's got a little, kind of like a snorkel that goes from his mouth to his head, which is funny because there must be an oxygen tank somewhere in there because it's not anywhere else in his body. I will definitely display that. Holy moly!
Did you know what his purpose was?
He trained hand-to-hand combat cobras, right?
Yeah, here we go. They actually sent the card.
What?
I'm going to read the card out to you because it's bonkers.
Rob is going to read the Big Boa card.
Codename Big Boa. He is a cobra trainer. His file name is unknown. Okay, here we go. Cobra troopers can be an unruly bunch at times. They aren't motivated by patriotism, unit loyalty, honor, or sense of duty. It takes a brutal, unfeeling taskmaster to whip them into fighting trim, and Big Boa fits the bill to a T. He has a voice like a bullhorn, fists the size of frozen turkeys, and the disposition of a rabid grizzly bear.
That would explain these boxing gloves so big.
Big Boa kicks open the Cobra barracks door at 0500 and makes everyone do the low crawl up the mountain while pushing a bowling ball with their noses. Then it's a 20-mile run through the bramble thickets, more push-ups than you want to know about, and a 2-mile swim upstream with a flak jacket and helmet. After breakfast, he starts on the hard stuff. And yeah, so Big Boa is great.
So he's built like
he's basically the Sergeant Slaughter
of Cobra.
Of
Cobra, right.
Yeah.
Except he's got the sweet helmet.
Yeah. But in this, they state nothing about why he has boxing gloves or a boxing bag.
I just always assumed he was like the this figure, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how ridiculously, and I had this figure as a kid, and now I have to get some thank you, Rob. That's awesome. But, and this is in great shape. Wow, I think it's in dang near perfect shape. This figure,
show them, not
okay,
me. Remember Dad?
I know you, and I will show you, Mr. John. I know you want to see this. This figure, what's cool about it was that he's ripped. He's totally just jacked, super strong. But the thing is like, it looks like a combination of, we were going to make a figure with these legs. We were going to make a barbarian figure.
Yeah.
And hey, we were going to make a space pilot. Now we're just going to...
It's like they just took the pieces they had left over. He's the platypus of...
That's right. That's right. He's just the leftover parts guy.
You think Boa is a Rocky Balboa reference?
It has to be.
Yeah.
And they get a double entendre with that because they get this Boa the snake for Cobra and Big Boa.
Oh, that could be. It's probably Boa. I was just...
No, I think you're right, man. Rocky, Big Boa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you might have something
and
going on
I
there.
tested him out. He will stand up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he's got good center
balance.
balance.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
And look here on the back. Do you remember this? The refrigerator Perry giveaway?
Yep. When we were kids, I mean, heck, that year at the Super Bowl, I don't know what it was about that year at the Super Bowl. Refrigerator Perry was all the rage because he was the center and he did make a touchdown.
No, he was not a center. He was a defensive lineman.
He was so big.
He was huge.
He's massive.
And on goal line situations, they would put him in as a running back.
That's right.
And one time they put him in there. Walter Payton was the running back. And one time they put him there in as a blocker.
Okay.
So he was the fullback, and then Walter Payton was behind him.
I'm going to act like I know what he's talking about here.
So the play happens, and they hand the ball to Walter Payton, and he gets held up at the line. He's not going to make it in. Refrigerator Perry comes around, picks up Walter Payton, and runs him into the end zone.
You kidding me?
And so then it took like 5 minutes because the referees had to decide, is that legal?
Can you pick
up the runner holding the ball and run him in the end zone? Is it a touchdown?
Wouldn't that be the same as just pushing him in, though? I mean, I guess they have to kind of...
I can't remember. I could either look it up, but I'm not. I don't remember, but I want to say, just from my memory, they determined it was not legal.
Okay, we'll look it up and post it before. All right.
So, but I just thought that was a great... That's what I remember most about Refrigerator Perry.
Well, okay, but you remember
him picking up Walter Payton and running him into the end zone.
See, I just remember during the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
That was 85,
85
right?
Bears.
85.
Yep.
85 Bears. And who were they playing that year?
In Super Bowl, they defeated the New England Patriots.
Okay.
45-3.
Ooh, that was a smoking. Yep. Well, that year, they came out with a song called the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yep.
And I remember Refrigerator Perry's line was a rap. It was as cheesy rap as you could get. But his line was, "I may be young, but I'm no dumb cookie," or maybe young and I am the rookie, something, but I'm no dumb cookie. I don't know what it was, but I just remember that.
Yeah,
as
if you've never treated yourself to the video of the Chicago Bears Super Bowl Shuffle, you should.
It's time. It's time. That's a Gen X thing.
Is.
You'll remember it.
It is amazingly bad/awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And of course, action figures and toys and sports figures have never been uncommon to the world of toys. Like you had Evel Knievel toys in the 70s. You had football stars. Even that table that vibrated that went around that you played with. But to
I
have
remember
those? That
was always that was one of those things that it was always one of the first things on my Christmas list
and
one of the first things taken off.
That's
when I
right.
realized I wasn't going to make budget.
My cousin Joe had one, the wish book budget. We got to talk about the wish book budget.
Yeah.
My cousin Joe had one, and he'd plug it in, and you had the little dial on the bottom that it was supposed to make them go a certain way.
Yeah.
But these things were not exact science.
No.
They just shook. And so you hope
fell over and everything else.
And I'm like, well, Joe, I don't even know who's got the ball. Who's got the ball?
I hadn't seen the ball.
Yeah,
since
where's the ball?
Yeah.
But anyway, that was unique. That was unique that you would have a giveaway for the for a mainstream football player into a mainstream toy line to make them work. Yeah,
because I mean, honestly, that's like G.I. Joe channeling Masters of the Universe. We'll just put anything together.
Anything on him. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And, but like I said, it is a cool figure.
It is. You liked it. I
liked it.
I can't believe you got this for me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like beside myself here.
And such, but yeah, that's Big Bo, and that's it's vintage. It's from the '80s.
Okay,
that's the one.
Kid that stole
Did they ever remake it?
This one?
Yeah.
I think they did. I think they really did. Yeah, I mean, when they realized they had a buying market, I think they made everything. Yeah. So, kid that stole my toys years ago, you are forgiven. I now have a big boa, so we're good.
And look at his leg muscles.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at the Crimson Guard, it's just a straight leg. You look at Big Boa.
Yeah.
And his legs are he's got massive quads.
That's right.
I mean, they went out of their way to sculpt him jacked.
Yeah. So this guy is almost like they were trying to make a mini He-Man.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. They did. They just left the head off of it.
It is just a bonkers figure that's all the better for it.
I'll take it. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome, man.
All right. That's cool. All right, let's see. All right, now then, it is time for...
Ask the Magic 8 Ball.
All right. So let's see.
You go first because I forgot to think of something.
I think I have that. Okay, so I'm gonna go first for this.
Okay.
And I have a good question in mind for this, and it was, if you guys have noticed, we're making a few little tweaks and changes to the show. This week was a pretty easy setup. Only shot with one light at 11:15, a nice key light, but here's a cool little backfill light that you can see a little blue coming from.
Very professional.
We like it. I've been reading a lot of YouTube's videos out there.
You've been reading YouTube videos?
I don't watch them. I just read them.
You just read them?
I just read the comments.
Yeah.
I found that life is better if you only read the comments.
The only problem when I read a comment, I'll go buy it, like looking on Amazon or eBay or something, and I'll read the comments, and they could have 1,000 positive reviews, but when I see that one negative one, I'm like,
that's right.
No,
I know. That's how they. That's right. That's absolutely right. That's crazy. But actually, no. Obviously, I view the videos. But the question I have, all right, Magic 8 Ball, will I ever settle on the lighting for this show, or will I just keep tweaking it until I can't tweak any longer?
I know.
So, will I settle on the lighting? Oh, it's stuck in the middle. Just gonna give you a little nudge. It says, "My sources say no." Well, he must be talking to your people.
Yeah,
the Magic 8 Ball might be talking to your people. Do you have a question this week?
Let me see.
So many pressing. Oh, wait. Okay. Mm-hmm. You did. If I can help you out this, you did make a certain acquisition this week, and you don't have to necessarily spill the beans of what it is, but you could always ask if it's going to arrive.
I hope it'll arrive. I think I do have the question I want to ask the Magic 8 Ball.
Okay, go ahead.
Will Abby and JT do a hostile takeover of GenX Vault?
Oh, they wanted. Oh, they're not the hostile takeover.
Yeah, JT wouldn't. Abby
would. No, Abby probably would. Yeah.
Concentrate and ask again.
Concentrate.
8 Ball, you and me.
Well, if I have to concentrate a little bit on it, JT's the only one I've ever given a key to the house.
That's true.
So we're safe and safe there, unless Abby confiscates the key.
8 Ball. Let me make it simpler for you, because apparently you're having trouble.
Concentrate.
Yeah.
Will Abby attempt a coup on GenX Vault? Better not tell you now.
Oh man,
So
that's rough stuff.
Make sure you lock your doors.
Well, that kind of leads me to my
coming.
next section. I want to do a couple shout outs today before we close this section. First of all, I do want to shout out a very special thank you to Abby and JT, my godchildren.
Yes, godchildren.
And Rob's actual children.
Are you not going to do your Godfather thing?
Okay, well, I'll tell them that. So
Okay.
when JT says, what do you want to be called, God Dad? I went, JT, this is the only time in my life where I will ever be able to call the Godfather. So you got to call me the Godfather.
Yep.
So come in.
Godfather. It is true. Chris and Ashley are the godfather
The godparents.
and parents.
Godparents
Of
Yes.
our children.
That's right. So
How about that?
That was an honor. So,
Yes.
So very special thank you to Abby and JT for doing the intro. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. And I want to give a very special thank you to Lonnie Bishop at Small Cakes in Statesboro. She was really cool. Ashley's best friend Kim had a birthday last week. She turned 50. And although Ash and I are much, much, much younger than that, we wanted to make it special for her. Probably just a little. And I wrote Lonnie at Small Cakes and I said, hey, Lonnie, do you guys have do you have any kind of cream cheese or anything like that? And she said, yep, we'll make you some cool little cream cheese cupcakes. And she did, and they were amazing. As a matter of fact, after we all ate the full meal and dessert, her kid went back to start eating up the rest of the dessert. And so it was awesome. Everything you made, Lonnie, was awesome. And Lonnie was one of my students when I taught at Southeast Bullock.
Yep.
And I used to brag to get them. I said, all right, guys, if you learn this piece now, I will go ahead and bake you cookies on Friday. So I used to do that. So I hope I'm a little part of that baking career, although mine came from a rolled up Pillsbury dough. That's all it was. Yeah. So but anyway, thank you, Lonnie. I appreciate that.
One time, a friend of mine and we were at home. He had spent the night, and we decided we wanted some cookies, and we decided why don't we just make one big cookie? And we pretty much filled up the oven.
Oh,
with,
man.
Cookie, yeah.
Well, we had
Did not go well.
In college, me and my cousin Troy decided to make brownies. We hadn't done this before in high school.
Yeah.
But in this brownie mix, because all my roommates in college had this wonderful habit of they would just want to come eat off what everybody made, right? Yeah. So we made these big thing of brownies, the Duncan Hines, Betty Crocker, whatever it was. We made the brownies. We had we put in there chicken bouillon cubes, seasonal, crab boil. I mean, we put all this stuff in there. Yeah. And so Travis, our roommate Travis Prim, if you're out there, he came, he grabbed it and snatched it and walked back to his room. He came back in, his face was about that big the next morning. He sat it down right after he ate it. He came back in, his face was that big the next morning. He goes, what was in it? and I said, oh, like crab boil. He goes, oh my God, I'm allergic to crab. You know, so he's swollen up because he stole the food. So
That's pretty good.
I maybe had the toy thing coming. I'm not sure, but anyway.
But I said it would have been worse if it came out like those were awesome. You got some more?
Oh man, that'd be horrible. I want more of those crab boil brownies.
Yeah, crab bowl brownies does not sound good.
No, it wasn't. We didn't even eat them.
Yeah.
And this
I would
one,
hope not.
Well, this one girl, Shalera, was in there, and she was trying to be sweet. You know, she didn't say anything. So she's in there eating it, and she's cutting up the pieces and moving them to the side of her plate, making it look like she's eating more than she is. Yeah, and she's moving it around. Yeah. And me and Troy are laughing because we're like, we know what's up. You know, we're like, I ain't eating that junk. All right, so for GenX Vault this week, I'm Chris Mitchell.
Rob Cannady.
Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one.